Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I got in a headlamp to take a look at. This one's coming from Nextorch and the model is the eStar. I believe they released this back in February, so it's been out for a couple months now, but it's very unique in that it doesn't have any buttons on it at all. And instead it has this like rotary dial up on top here and then a stepless dimming switch over on the side to turn. It's also going to have a spotlight, a floodlight, a red light, and be able to take dual battery sources. So stick around if you want to learn about it. We'll do a real quick unboxing. We'll go over all the features and specifications. We'll go over the user interface. I'll try to give you guys some beam shots and then we'll get some thoughts on it. So Nextorch always has like premium packaging. As you can see, we're going to have 1300 lumens max output. Again, dual battery, so it's going to include a rechargeable battery in here, but we can also use AAAs. There's some of the specs. We'll go over some of this later, but it looks like it's going to have a 10-year warranty, a QR code for registering, some more information, and then different modes that it's going to have. But let's get into this, see how things are packaged and what all we get. So figure out what that is in a minute. So we have the headlamp right here. Looks like a manual. Some type of like carrying bag maybe. There is the battery. And it is going to be USB-C rechargeable. So we have a type A to type C cable. I will quickly show you this manual just in case there's anything that I leave out on this video, or in case you buy this headlamp and lose your manual. You can always come back to this video for reference. So here is the eStar headlamp. I'll give you guys some close-ups before we start going over all the details. There is this little tag here saying to remove the film on the battery. So there may be a second battery in here. We'll see whenever we open this up. Otherwise, I don't know why they would have that on there. I do want to quickly show you the headband itself. It has this reflective material that goes all the way around. It is branded here. You can see it's also like perforated, so it's very breathable. It's stretchy. And then on the inside, it has this grippy stuff. So once it's in place in your head, it stays in place. So if you're jogging or moving around a bunch or whatever, the headlamp's not going to move on you. And if you want to like adjust, you just kind of pull on both of these at the same time, or you can just move one like this and adjust it like that. But yeah, it just goes like this right here to kind of tighten up. So the majority of this headlamp is polycarbonate and then also ABS plastic. It is drop tested at 1 meter and it is IP67 waterproof rated. As far as dimensions, just about 2.5 inches across. The height of it, maybe 1.7 inches or close to it. And our total depth is about 1.5 inches. And then I am going to see if it does have a battery in it before we do a weight. And to get into that battery area, you just kind of lift up on this right here, and then this pops open. And yeah, they actually do include a second battery. That's really nice to see. So the weight with the headlamp, the head strap, and the battery, looks like we're coming in at 3.9 ounces. So I don't know the exact LEDs that they're using on this headlamp. This is going to be our spotlight up here. These are our 2 floodlights and then our red LEDs. And the lens that's on it is called the Nextorch Claw Optics optical lens. And these 4 little lines that you see on the corners are actually glow in the dark. Just kind of makes it easier to find this headlamp in the dark, maybe like in a tent or something. So let's go over how to use this light. It should be super simple. You can see we have an off, an R, an SOS, 1, 2, 3. There's a little arrow up here. So like right now it's pointing at off. If we want to go over to 1, this is going to be our floodlights. These are 5 lumens at the lowest and then 650 lumens at the brightest. And you adjust that by just turning this dial here. And it'll flash it once it reaches its highest point and then also the lowest point, it will flash. And you can stop anywhere you want. So like, let's just say I want this amount of light right here. If I were to shut this off, when I turn it back on, it's going to be on that exact same amount of light that I had it set at. Very, very simple on that. If I want to switch to the spotlight, I just turn this to the next thing right there. And again, this is going to be 5 lumens down at the lowest, all the way up to 650 lumens at the highest. And again, you can stop anywhere. Same thing, mode memory. If I want both spotlight and floodlight, I just flip over here to the third one, and that is where we get our 1300 lumens at the highest mark there. And then we can go down fairly low. I think it's 10 lumens at the lowest here. But again, we got the spotlight and the floodlights each on right now. If you want your red LED, you just flip it over to the R. Now those two are on. I believe 1 lumen is the lowest here, and then it goes up to 50 lumens. So yes, you can adjust the brightness of your red as well. And finally, we're going to have this SOS. So you just flip it over to that. That is your red SOS, and you can adjust the brightness of it as well. We'll go down to the lower. I honestly don't know if it could be any simpler than that. I have other headlamps that you have to cycle through, like you have to hit it like 3 and 4 times if you want to get to the red. Like it'll start off maybe in the highest, and then a medium, and then a low, and then maybe like a flashing white, and then finally you can get to the red. I have one headlamp that I can't figure out how to get into the red. It's so confusing. Also wanted to show you guys that this does have a battery level indicator. So every time you turn it on, or if you switch to each thing, you'll see that this comes on like this. Now if I switch to the spotlight, it'll come on. If I switch to all of it, and it stays on for just a couple seconds. There's actually 4 indicators up there. If all 4 of them were lit, we're somewhere between 75 and 100%. If 3 of them are on like they are right now, we're somewhere between 50 and 75. If there are 2 blue lights on, we're somewhere between 25 and 50%. If it's 1 red light, it's somewhere between 10% and 25%. And if it's a flashing red light, we're below 10%. And I'll give you guys a close-up of that battery. 1200 milliamp hour. There's some of the specs on it. Also wanted to show you guys that there's several positions that you can have this in. So it can be right here, and then it kind of just like ratchets out. So like right there's kind of position 2, 3, and it's real positive engagement. Whenever it goes, it like locks in pretty well. 4, 5, and 6. So I want to see how difficult it is to turn this headlamp on with a gloved hand. And that was super easy. Easy to switch through everything. Now let's see about adjusting brightness. Yeah, again, real easy to move that stuff around. And if you've ever tried pushing buttons on a headlamp, you know how difficult that is when you have gloves on. All right, one last thing to check before we do beam shots is to put some AAAs in it. All right, let's see how it does with just standard AAA batteries. So that is on. Let's see about the brightness. I know on the Spotlight and the Floodlight, they're each still 650 lumens with AAA, but when you go to the max brightness with both combined, it, for whatever reason, is 1200 lumens instead of 1300 when you use the rechargeables. But everything does seem to work perfectly fine using them. There's the red. Flashing red, or SOS. I also want to try some rechargeable AAAs. They're slightly lower voltage. These are 1.5 volts. These are 1.2. We'll see if they'll work. All right, let's check these out. Red, flashing red. Yeah, everything seems like it works fine with them too. All right, let's check out this eStar here in the dark. This is going to be the floodlights first on the lower setting. And then let's ramp this up. And that is the highest. I go back down to the low again. And now I'm going to switch it over to the Spotlight. Here is Spot on low. Let's ramp that up. There we go. You can really see that hot spot over there. I'm going to take it back down again. And now let's do the combination. And we'll go up through these. Again, this will be our full 1300 lumens right there. That is flood and spot together. And back down through them. And let's also look at the red inside here. This is on the lower setting. With my naked eyes, I can make it out pretty well in this room. The camera has a hard time seeing it that low, but let's go up to the highest amount here. There, you can really see that illuminates the room pretty well. All right, let's see what this Nextorch looks like outside. I have it on my head right now. Again, this is going to be the flood, and this is on the lower setting. I'm going to ramp this up. That is the highest amount. This row of trees is probably, I don't know, maybe 50 or 60 feet away from me right now. All right, I'm going to switch over to the Spotlight next. See what this looks like. There's actually some deer over there right now. I don't know how well that's going to come in on camera, but deer right in there. I can see at least 4 or 5 over here tonight. Let's keep it on high here, but I'm going to switch to the flood and the spot together. Getting the full 1300 lumens. It's a lot of light for a headlamp. That tree that's back there is about 100 yards away. And again, there's multiple deer around it right now that I can see them. There's one right in between those trees tonight. And how about if you need to do some kind of close-up work, like on an engine bay? So I got it on the flood right now. This is about halfway up. So again, if you need to get in there to do some work, that's great. Go all the way up with it. Well, hopefully seeing those nighttime beam shots was somewhat helpful for you. I was actually really impressed with this light, and overall I really like it. I've never had a headlamp that has this type of like dial up here. It's just so intuitive and easy to do. Plus with the other like secondary dial, you can get the exact amount of light that you want. Again, even with gloved hands, it's super easy in the pitch black to be able to find whatever you want. It's lightweight and very comfortable to wear even for long periods of time. I like how it has your floodlights, your spotlight, and your red LEDs, which makes this a really versatile headlamp. Again, you can use it around your house, ranch, workshop, hiking, camping. I mean, there's just so many uses for it. And again, you can dial the output down, so if you're working on something really up close, it's not like blinding bright, or you can put it up to where the high output and you can see a couple hundred yards away. I like how it comes with 2 of these rechargeable batteries, but you can also use AAA's and even rechargeable AAA batteries in it. The only thing that might be considered a con with it is that it is pretty much all made out of plastic, but again, that's what makes it so lightweight. And it is drop rated at 1 meter and IP67 waterproof rated, so it should be pretty durable. But yeah, in my opinion, this is an absolute winner. I would definitely recommend it. This one will be going in with my camping gear. So these are available on Amazon. They're also available on Nextorch's website. They have them in the black, which I obviously have, and then also a purple, and they're around $70 or so. And that again comes with those 2 rechargeable batteries. If for whatever reason you don't want them, you can buy a package that just comes with AAA batteries, and it's like $15 cheaper. Personally, I would recommend getting it already with these 2 batteries though. But I'll leave those links down in the video description in case you want to find out more information on the headlamp, if you want to read any of the other reviews, or if you want to pick one up. But alright guys, if you found the video helpful or informative in any way, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel out. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And that's going to be it on this one. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.